And I am especially appreciative of the work of the National Guard here in the state of Louisiana and around the country. And I can tell you, if there's one consistent theme every time the governors get on the phone, whether it's with the president and the vice president, or whether it's a governors-only National Governors Association telephone conference, the one thing that every governor has in common is how excellent their National Guards are performing. And that has a lot to do with General Lingyell's leadership, as well as just the quality of the guardsmen and the airmen, the soldiers and the airmen around the country. I'm really proud of the work that's being done here in Louisiana by our National Guard. And of course, we're very familiar and accustomed in Louisiana to seeing our National Guard perform just tremendous service in difficult circumstances. But this particular public health emergency is very different than what we've seen before. We've had more than our fair share of hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, you name it. But this pandemic with the coronavirus is just very different. You should know that we now have over 1,425 soldiers and airmen assisting with the COVID-19 response, but you probably don't really know what they're doing. And these are just some of the things that they're doing. They're providing medical services, they're doing engineering assessments, commodities distribution and support, managing our warehouse, all of the ventilators, the PPE, and lots of other things flow through our warehouse. They're providing shelter assistance, traffic control point and drive-through testing, site support, proper PPE training. They're assisting at food banks. They provide liaison officers to parish emergency operations centers. They did suitability assessments for different facilities all across the state of Louisiana as we were looking regionally to identify the best places to surge our medical capacity. They actually do work with LDH here out of GOSEP on modeling and so forth, and many, many other functions. And so I want to thank General Keith Waddell for his leadership and all of the work that's being done by the soldiers and the airmen of the Louisiana National Guard. I've always said, and I still say it, and I absolutely believe that we have the best in the business. General Lingyell cannot agree with that, and I understand it, but I know he understands just how good our National Guard is. And they're not just good at disaster support and helping us to respond to these things. They're also good in their warfighting mission as well. We have over 100 soldiers and airmen who are deployed overseas right now. And by the end of this year, we will have 2,700 deployed with the 256th Brigade that will be going overseas. And so it's a tough thing to manage, but they do a great job. But I can tell you this, the state of Louisiana today is a much better place than we would have been without the service of our National Guard. And I want to thank General Lingyell for supporting our efforts at a national level, one of which is to get the Title 32 status extended beyond the initial 30 days, which will have tremendously positive impacts on the individuals who are serving because of the additional benefits that they're now going to qualify for. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to ask General Lingyell to come up and deliver some remarks, and I'm going to ask you all, if you have questions for him or for General Waddell about the National Guard, that you ask him while he is at the podium, because I know that he has one more meeting and then he has to leave at 1:30, or as he would say 13:30 hours, because he's got to get to another location. So if you would ask your questions of General Lingyell while he's at the podium, and then I'll come back at the conclusion of that portion of the press conference. General Lingyell.
Governor Edwards, thank you very much, sir, for the great remarks and rundown of what your National Guard is doing. And I'd like to add my congratulations and thanks to the Adjutant General, General Waddell, again, for his leadership of one of the greatest National Guards in the United States of America, without a doubt. So thanks for letting me come see firsthand. And if I could just remind you, the entire Department of Defense, including the National Guard, are trying to do a few things. One is keep ourselves safe and able to perform our missions. So we want to protect ourselves. And as I've gone around Louisiana today and seen the care with which the men and women are complying with CDC recommendations and social distancing to minimize the transfer and make sure that they're ready to do their missions, and so that we can respond to the crisis as our nation and as the governor, as Louisiana needs it to do. Let me just mention that I have seen Louisiana National Guard men and women all over the world. Most recently on my trip on Thanksgiving, I visited many of them in combat zones in the Middle East. I've seen them in the Pacific. They are world-class soldiers and world-class airmen. And I don't think we could be any more proud of who they are and what they're doing. Notwithstanding, I want to share with you the enormity of this impact of this event on a National Guard scale. As of this morning, we had 43,500 National Guard members across the nation, including 1,200 here in Louisiana, that were responding to the COVID-19 pandemic. These numbers are continuing to rise. Over the next week or so, we will cross 50,000, I think, men and women of the National Guard who are called to duty for our nation by the governors in their states. We have not had a response this large from the National Guard since 2005 and Katrina, when we did have men and women from every state and every territory participate in the events here in Katrina, more than 50,000 since that event. So this event in every state, the difference being this is happening in every state, not just in the Gulf region, Louisiana, that's happening. So this is obviously a historic event, and it's requiring a historic response. I need to just express my supreme gratitude and admiration for the men and women who serve. Where our nation finds these men and women who will both maintain their lives as civilian and yet don this uniform as the governor needs them, or as the president needs them, to come to serve our country, to come and serve our states and our towns and our homes. It is something special. And we should be, as a nation, with the other first responders and those who are doing the response in this thing, very grateful. We thank their families, we thank their spouses, we thank their employers who share them with our nation to come when our nation needs them to come away from their civilian occupations. I thought that, the governor mentioned Louisiana is no stranger to needing the National Guard to respond here in the homeland. Condolences to the families who lost someone just in the tornadoes here in Louisiana just last night. As the governor mentioned here 4 years ago for floods, numerous hurricanes between then and now, and the Louisiana apparatus. It is the hub as a National Guard organization for where we bring together all of the nation every year to plan for the all hazards type responses that we have learned so much about from responding here in this part of the country. So not just tornadoes, National Guard members are on duty with cyber activities, ransomware, all the like. The unique apparatus of what we're doing, not just soldiers or airmen, but we are guardsmen. And that special piece of the guardsmen that allows us to come to duty when our governors need them makes us special. And I think, I just would mention one last thing in closing is it's not what we do that in our military specialty that is so always so valuable, but it's the innovation. It's the skill sets that our members of the National Guard bring with them from their civilian lives into the tasks that the governor asks them to do when they put this uniform on, whether it's just in this warehouse that I just visited that has on display an innovative way to distribute high-value medical apparatuses around the state at a moment's notice should people need them. And whether it's an infantry man who's actually running a testing facility, or whether it's someone else that is a truck driver or an intelligence officer that happens to be working in a food bank, which I came today from the Baton Rouge Food Bank to see that 2 million pounds of foods have been distributed to all the parishes here in Louisiana. It is a unique contribution, and as military components go, the National Guard was built for this. And if you were going to design a component that could do both the warfighting mission and the domestic operation missions, you would invent who we are and what we are doing today all across the nation and here in Louisiana. as the National Guard. So thank you all very much for letting me say, and with that, I'll be happy to take any questions you might have.
Nobody?
Nothing. Let me off
Y'all
easy.
saving up for me, huh?
All right.
General, thank you so very much.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you very much for letting me come.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Come back when